Hi, my name's Ainsley.
Hi, my name is Daniel,
And welcome to the Dope Student Podcast. And here we have today,
Camille Pearsall.
and we're just going to ask you a few questions. Your first question is, what inspired you to become a general contractor, and how did you get started in the field?
I was inspired to be a general contractor by, I'm gonna actually say my father and my community. I started out, my father was a single father who he raised me. I was raised in North Philly, right off of 16th and York. So I've been on a construction site my entire life, single dad, no babysitter, contractor. That added it up. I was there. I ran away from the construction site because I always thought I was too girly for it. I started doing hair. I ended up being a hairstylist in New York, doing like TV shows and models and that type of glam life. And the trajectory of life still pointed me back into what I was originally raised in, which was general construction.
All right. How do you manage a construction project from start to finish, and what steps do you take to ensure that everything runs smoothly?
A lot of patience, time, diligence, and being understanding. From the beginning is the planning phase. I start out by always speaking to my customer, whether I'm working for myself as an investor or another investor or with someone's home. I find out exactly what do they want the end goal to be, what do they want the outcome, what is their vision. Then I take their vision and I put it to plan. Sometimes I need to contact an architect. I'll work hand in hand with the architect. Other times the structural engineer or someone who just does simple drawings. Sometimes I do my own drawings. Then I take that and I make that relevant to my subcontractors, whether it's my framing team. Well, first we start with demo. Then we go into framing, the mechanical phases. Y'all already started on the mechanical phases. That's plumbing, HVAC, and electric. Once we're finished that, our behind the walls are really well, and everything is secure and tight. We pass the L&I inspection as well as the third-party electrical inspection. Then I call in my drywall team. The drywall team is where it really starts to where you're going to see the end product. So you want to make sure you have a team that's really great, that's efficient, not just moving fast, but have an understanding that we want a nice, clean product. Then we go into painting, trim, floors, cabinetry, and then finished carpentry work.
Can you tell us about a challenging project that you've worked on and how you overcame any obstacles that came up?
So one of my challenging projects that I'm working on still to date, I named it Old School. I kind of name all of my projects based on some type of genre of music. This house was a 3,300 square foot home, single family home, and from the beginning, there were several challenges. It was important to me to know that once I start something that I could finish it, no matter what the challenges are. That I had to go dig deep into myself and my resources within my community to find the resiliency to come through to the other side of that project.
All right. What type of skills of knowledge are necessary to be successful as a general contractor, and have you developed those skills over time?
As a general contractor, you can't just know this trade or that trade. You have to have an understanding of each trade. So therefore, for me, I was lucky enough to have been on a construction site, as I shared with you earlier, from the time that I was probably 2. So I have received a lot of information hands-on, but also it's important to know the theory behind what you're doing hands-on. As a general contractor, I'm making sure that all of the subcontractors are doing the right thing, where I'm not going to say I can do their job, but I need to have a great understanding of what they should be doing, what the end result should be, and everything in the beginning. So for me, just like I said, being on a construction site forever, I ask a lot of questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Ask the question. Even it's going to help you plus at least one other person in the room. Or you could also share that information. Then on top of that, I went to Temple Fox School of Business for construction management.
How do you ensure that your team is working safely on the job site, and what measures do you take to prevent accidents or injuries?
I follow OSHA standards very strictly. I'm OSHA 30 certified. I also have just whatever I might see something wrong, I give corrective action. I let them know what's going on that's going on that should not have been done. I give them a way to write that whatever was going on that could be dangerous, and also I let them know of the severity of whatever infraction they're doing. how that could implement, how it could hurt them or somebody else on the work site, which will cause a work stoppage. In short of, most times in the trades, if we don't work, we don't get paid. So we can't take, unnecessary risks to get injuries just to get the job done faster. Take those extra 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever it may be, to make sure you're following OSHA guidelines and safety regulations.
All right. How do you stay up to date with new materials, building codes, and other development in the construction industry?
Wow, great question, guys. Social media is beyond the best, but also I speak to all of my tradespeople. I speak to my tradespeople, I speak to clients, and I do a lot of networking. I stay close to the community, finding out what are the trends going on now, what are the trends coming that's going away, and what can we look forward to, things that's going to be more budget friendly for investors as well as, just other residential clients, things that's not going to go out of style. I like to do timeless work, meaning like for tiles, I love a subway tile, a white subway tile or a light gray subway tile, something a neutral tone. That's a timeless, endless piece. You can change whatever decor in the room, and it'll still fit. So with that, I feel like if you're giving a timeless work, then you're giving a great product, something that could stand just the test of time. When I say timeless, no matter what trends go on, the person who or the family that lives in the residence that I rehab or build, they can enjoy it for 30 years. I want to always make sure I'm giving that 30-year product.
How do you communicate with clients throughout the construction process, and what strategies do you use to ensure that they are satisfied with the final result?
So throughout this construction process, I use videos a lot. I rely heavily on videos and cameras. I make sure that all the leads on my teams have iPhones, and we share videos. We do FaceTime walkthroughs with the clients. I also schedule several walkthroughs as we complete each phase to make sure, keep them abreast to anything that might be going on. If we're running behind in any areas, if we're going, we're ahead schedule on any areas for budget things, but also just to make sure that their vision is coming to life. Sometimes in this construction field, as we're doing things, your vision to change. You might think in the beginning, I want this. But as you see it being built and developing, you make some changes. So it's important to keep your customer in the loop or your client in the loop so they have an understanding we're moving forward on the right track. You don't want to get all the way to the end and they say, oh, no, we want to move this there. We want to, get that done in the beginning if possible.
Can you walk us through a typical day in your role as a general contractor and what type of tasks you might be working on?
So my typical day, I'll give you all my day yesterday. I started out at 8 a.m. I try, health is wealth. I teach people to build wealth. But one of the main things I always put just emphasis on to everyone, health is wealth. You want to make sure you're doing some type of stretching, walking, some type of small 15, 20-minute exercise routine. So that's how I try to start my day most days. Then I hit 9 a.m. every morning. At 9 a.m. I have a meeting with my assistants and all the leads on my team, just to give out, go over what we did the day before and what's coming up for that oncoming day. Then I normally start making my rounds if I don't have to get material. Yesterday I had to go to King of Prussia to get material yesterday morning. I came back from King of Prussia, went to Center City for a meeting for a new development project that I'm getting ready to start working on. From there I went to another project out West Philly, and I'm giving you all these areas just so y'all know it's a lot of moving parts in the general contractor's day. To do a walkthrough inspection with L&I to close out some permits on a project I just completed. From there, I went to East Oak Lane for a stone delivery, and we building the fence in that project. Around 6 p.m., I went to another networking meeting. Remember I told you networking is really, really important as a general contractor because this is where you want to meet your future clients as well as your future people that you're going to work well on your team or you could be a part of their team. Then I had a granite install at 9 o'clock last night. So that's the average day for a general contractor that's still working heavily in the field. You will go from the top of the moon to the bottom and circle it. Just be prepared and be patient. If you love what you do, it'll never feel like working.
What advice would you give to someone who is interested in pursuing a career in contrasting or construction?
I would definitely tell them to go for it. Be patient, depend on your resiliency, and be prepared to work hard and make sure that you're taking time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. There's a lot of wealth to be built in the trades industry. I always encourage a lot of people to go into the trades, get as much, learn as much theory as you can, do apprenticeships, do whatever you can to get into it, because the wealth that you could build is limitless. And make sure you just take time to enjoy it as well. Don't get caught up in just, making the money that's there, because you'll get excited. There's a lot of money that could be made in the trades. Don't get caught up there. Enjoy your life.
All right. How do you balance the demands on your work with other aspects of your life, such as family, hobbies, or other interests?
I incorporate my family into my business as much as possible. One is about building a legacy for me. I have two daughters, so that's really, really important for me to build a legacy. My husband was also a general contractor. He passed away in the beginning of 2020, and my construction company was actually his construction company. So for me to be resilient, to give a rebirth to his company, to bring that back, to include my daughters, to include, my father, my friends, the network that I've built. So that's kind of how I draw it together, because my team is made up of people who I know and love. We also, we do stuff together. That's very, very important, just that team building aspect of it. But I also take time to pause and say, okay, Camille, you have to live life. Remember, I told y'all this is really important. You can't get caught up in the day to day. You have to take time to live. So next weekend, I'm going on vacation.
What advice would you offer a middle school / high school student looking to pursue this career path?
Do really, really good in your regular curriculum, but continue to participate in programming like this. This is a great program that Mr. Jarrett has here at Mayfair CTE. But also use your free time, your summertime. Tap into the resources of people that Mr. Jarrett has coming and speaking to you all to see, can you walk their sites? Can, maybe on a Saturday, if they work Saturdays, can you come out on the site, help clean up? Can you go with them on material runs so you can start getting understanding of the material? Get as much information as you can at this point, because by the time you graduate high school, you can have yourself set up to be in a position to make $100,000 a year, literally, if you take advantage of the resources and the knowledge that you're receiving right now in middle school.
Okay. Can you talk about a time when you had to make a tough decision on the job, and how did you arrive at that decision?
Every day. Every day. As a general contractor, one of the toughest decisions that you'll have to make are budgeting. And as I said before, a lot of time I try to incorporate my family, my friends, and my network into my builds. But sometimes their prices are not good for my budgets. So I cannot go with them sometimes. So sometimes that means me reaching out to other people. And that's a tough decision, because you'll have people who you know and love, who are saying, hey, give me the business, but you can't necessarily do that, because you have to do what's right for your business, which is sticking to your budget as much as possible. That is one of the biggest things that you will find as a general contractor, is sticking to the budget. You have to understand your numbers, and that's why it's also really important for y'all to pay attention to your core curriculum at school too, because it's going to come in handy.
How do you manage unexpected issues or delays that arise during a construction project, and what strategies do you use to keep everything on track?
That's a big question. So to answer the first part, I manage things that arise by knowing things will arise. There will always be a situation that's going to come up. Every situation is situational, if that makes sense, meaning you can't necessarily prepare for each scenario that may happen, but give yourself the patience and the grace to understand that things will happen, that you will get through it. Never put on yourself that you have to be perfect. Don't give yourself that type of pressure. Just know that whatever it is, you can get through it. You will get through. Not you just can, but you will get through it. You will be resilient. And what's the second part of the question?
And what strategies do you use to keep everything on track?
I rely heavily on my phone, on my notes, on my Excel sheets, and also other, software to whatever might happen. And I look back on previous times. That's why I'll use my notes. Okay, I'll say, I had a similar situation at Project ABC. So I'll go back to my notes on Project ABC to see how did I handle that, who did I pull in to assist me in that area. Again, it's heavily built on teams, and just networking is very relationship based. If you have somebody out here who you can assist you, Always put your pride aside. For me, that's what I do. I put my pride aside and I reach out to whoever I need to reach out to offer support in that area. Know that you cannot do it all by yourself. It's okay to lean on, your network.
Okay. How do you stay organized and keep track of all the different aspects of a construction project, from materials to time to budget?
So there are some apps that you can use. For me, I rely heavily on Excel, um, as well as my relationships I have with Home Depot. I use them a lot for something called takeoffs. That's where after my architect gives me my prints, I send it to them and they do my takeoffs, telling me what materials and everything like that I need. I also do spreadsheets. I have automatic software for different receipts that'll go in and they get chronologically organized based on the address for it. Yeah, I think that's mainly the main thing. And just keeping everything separated. You have to be organized. Rather it's just keeping a little compartment bag, in your vehicle to keep things together, receipts and everything like that.
What do you love most about your job, and what keeps you motivated to continue working as a general contractor?
What I love most about my job is creating beauty in my community. I came from a blighted community, and I know that every time I go in and I rehab a house and I paint a door yellow or I put a flower pot outside, I know I'm adding beauty to that neighborhood. That's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated. The community will give you feedback to say, we love what you are doing. When they see that you're positive and, you're a positive mover and you're inspiring others to do that. When you see people mimicking what you do, I see people on blocks that I go on and I rehab several properties on, and they come through and they mimic what I do. They're now painting the outside of their houses. Once you offer that, just that little bit, the community will jump out and they'll do it and mimic it. And as soon as you could be part of a movement that turned the whole street around to look beautiful now. So that's what's good for me. I love creating beauty.
This is your time. How can people get in contact with you?
The best way to get in contact with me is on social media, Legacy Builders MC. Follow me, DM me. I also have another page, Stoner Renovations. Follow me and DM me there.
All right. Thank you for being with us here today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This was wonderful.